Welcome. I'm Brenda Fontaine, the broker owner of Fontaine Family, the real estate leader, and the host of Your Real Estate Solutions. We have three professionals today ready to share valuable information with you. Julie Poulin with Mortgage Network will be discussing credit scores, and DeeDee Whittemore with Phenix Title will be discussing the importance of title insurance. And then later, on location, Roux with Roux Insurance Services to discuss your home insurance needs. But first, this important question from our viewers. So, should a home seller allow a home buyer possession before closing? Typically, possession is day of closing. If for some reason the closing is delayed or if the home is vacant, because buyers are always anxious to move in, they often do ask to move in before closing. Is this a good idea? No, it's really not a good idea for the seller. And here's why. Once the buyers are in, it may be difficult to get them out if they're unable to close. They probably could do damage to the house, and then the seller would have to do repairs before starting the marketing and sale process all over again. Another issue is the seller may have to evict them. The laws are really for the tenant and never for the landlord. And then, of course, not to mention the liability issues. And most attorneys who do represent homeowners do not recommend for buyers to move in before closing. But of course, it's always the seller's final decision. Thank you for being here today, Julie.
I'm happy to be here.
So, Julie, what is the minimum credit score to qualify for a mortgage?
Mortgage company use the middle of 3 credit scores, which we obtain through Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, the 3 credit bureaus. Most of our investors do require a 640 minimum. There have been circumstances that we've been able to do as low as a 620, but that is a case-by-case scenario.
Very good. And how is the credit score calculated?
35% is payment history, so again, no 30-day lates. 30% is the outstanding debt on the credit report. 15% is the length of time that credit accounts have been open. 10% is the new credit. And 10% is the type of credit, like credit cards versus auto loans, installment loans, student loans.
How can a buyer increase their credit score?
Do not make any 30-day late payments on your current credit. Pay down existing credit card debt. Stop the credit inquiries. If you do not have a credit card, you may consider obtaining one. A national bank card is a better choice than department store credit cards. Just don't open too much credit too soon, too rapidly.
Very good. Now this is the shopping season, and a lot of department stores are trying to get people to open up credit cards at their place of business and in return receive a 20% or 10 or 20% discount. How can people resist that temptation, and why should they, I should say, resist that temptation?
Every time a customer pulls their credit or does a credit inquiry at the department stores, it does drop their credit score. For example, if somebody has a 648 mid-score and they go shopping that weekend and pull Kohl's or a Walmart, they may find when we go to pull their credit, they're now under the 640 because of the credit increase. So it's not worth the 20% savings.
No, it's not. And that's a good thing for the people out there to know that.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Julie.
You're welcome.
Welcome, DeeDee. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me back.
So, DeeDee, buyers always want to know, why would I need title insurance when I've already paid for a title search?
That's a great question. Sometimes title problems occur that could not be found in the public records or are missed through the title search process. And it's to help to protect you in these events.
Sure. So, DeeDee, what are some of the hidden problems that you could find after the fact and that would not have been found in a title search?
Sure. There could be errors, omissions in deeds, mistakes in the examining records, undisclosed errors, and even forgery.
Wow. Could you explain what an owner's title policy actually is?
Sure. An owner's title policy, or also known as an owner's policy, is issued usually in the amount of the transaction, so whatever your buyer is purchasing the home amount, and it's a one-time fee. It's to help ensure that if there are any of these issues that we've talked about arise after closing, that they can default back to the policy. And it really is for us to give your client peace of mind, knowing that we're going to be there to help support them if any of these types of situations come up in the future. And another great thing too is that people don't realize is, it is a one-time fee, and it protects them and their heirs as long as they have an ownership or an interest in the property.
So it actually protects their heirs too.
Yes, as long as they have an interest in the property, absolutely.
That's very good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Roux from Roux Insurance Services, here to provide some homeowners' seasonal claims advice. In the winter here in Maine, we have snow. Snow accumulations on a roof can cause ice dams, resulting in water backing up into the home. This can even occur when the roof is relatively new and looks fine. Let's take a look at a simple example with these two rulers. A roof is designed to shed water. During a storm, the snow covers the entire roof. Over time, heat escapes from the interior of the home, causing the snow to turn to ice along the roof's eaves. Interior leaking occurs when water from rains or melting snow accumulates under or behind the ice dams and can't get off the roof. The water drains into the interior of the house, causing interior damage. The best way to avoid this occurrence is the purchase and utilization of an inexpensive item called a roof rake, available at any hardware or home improvement store. I recently saw some for $49. Let's go on site for a snow-free demonstration of a roof rake. A roof rake is intended to be utilized from the ground. Right after a storm, while the snow is fresh, reach up onto the roof with the rake and pull the snow off the roof. Be sure to clear an area at least 6 to 8 feet above the roof eave or edge. Stopping ice dams before they occur means your roof will shed water as it was intended to, avoiding interior ceiling damage. Interior ceiling and wall damage caused by this leaking is evident in this home. Stopping ice dams before they form would have avoided this homeowner's claim. Remember, no claims means lower insurance premiums and less hassle. I'm Dan Roux from Roux Insurance Services. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Please continue to send us your questions so we can answer them in future shows. Email me, brenda@fontaineteam.com, and be sure to connect with us on Facebook. See you next time.